Atypical security guard. I want to welcome you to today's live stream. I'm heading into work. Beautiful day here in Portland, Oregon. The sun is out. My gun is indeed out. Today I want to talk about the number one security gig to prepare you to be a cop. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the old TV show Highlander, but there was a saying, there can only be one. And it might surprise you what I'm going to pick. I asked a question on my community tab the other day. I said, of all of the security gigs that are out there, which one best prepares you for a job in law enforcement? I asked, would it be option A, unarmed security? We had some people that said, yeah, actually unarmed security would be great because it teaches you to de-escalate. It teaches you to use your observation skills as opposed to going directly to deadly force, right? And that's something that we need in law enforcement. Maybe that's the best way. Some people chose option B, which was armed security. They said, well, of most of the security gigs that are out there, armed security, you're kind of doing law enforcement type stuff. You're more than likely responding to issues. You're dealing with threats. Maybe you're, involved in hands-on type security where you're making stops, detainments, arrests. A lot of people said that was a good option. Option 3 was executive protection. This would be like your close details. That could be anything from working private military contracts, high-level security for dignitaries, entertainment, celebrities, things like that. Some people thought that was a good opportunity because it put you in close proximity to people that maybe are high-value threats, and that there's a level of professionalism that comes with working executive protection that kind of exceeds all the other areas. Then there was one more that I offered. I said, what about loss prevention? Most people, they were like, loss prevention, come on now. Loss prevention, right? Loss prevention, those guys that they kind of peek around the corner when you're at Target. They follow you when you're in Walmart. A lot of these loss prevention guys, they make $12 to $20 an hour. They sit in an office. They're on their phones a lot. They're looking around with the cameras. There seems to be a lot of people that loss prevention that are gamers too. There seems to be like a correlation between the gamer community and people that end up in loss prevention. Most people did not pick loss prevention as a preparatory career field to be a cop. But in my opinion, and I will back it up with substantial evidence, I believe that loss prevention is actually the best preparatory security gig for someone who wants to work in law enforcement. Blasphemy! Blaspheme! Blaspheme! Cease! Guys, listen. I'm going to tell you why I think that is. Working in loss prevention, you have like 8 different hats that you have to wear, okay? Your loss prevention officers, at least here in Oregon, I can't speak for any other places, I don't live anywhere else, right? But at least for Oregon, a loss prevention officer is a certified Oregon unarmed security guard. They go through the same training that any unarmed security guard goes through. They go through the same preparatory training that an armed officer goes through. They just don't carry a firearm, right? Depending on the company that you work for, if you work for, let's just say, A&B grocery chain. A&B grocery chain is a, world renowned. It's known everywhere. It's got a name recognition. This is a large corporation, right? The loss prevention officers, they don't just go through the Oregon State security training. They go through a corporate specific security training as well. This teaches a little bit more in depth the issues of arrest and control, of detainment. They go into all of the laws surrounding contacting, detaining, and releasing juveniles. They go in depth in terms of detainment techniques and tactics. They go over and train techniques of observation. They even go over and train and certify, depending on the level of that loss prevention officer, interview techniques. Interview techniques and ways to determine if someone is lying in an interview. I believe it's called the Wicklander technique or Wicklander Academy, something similar to that. But think about that. At a security level, you have people that are going through the state mandated training, which, you know, it is what it is. But then going through corporate training that's teaching everything from making stops, detentions, let's go back, making observations, stops, detentions, right? Interview techniques. All of this involves subjects that are shoplifting. They're being taught defensive tactics and control techniques and techniques of arrest, handcuffing, OC for certain locations, right? All of that. And then on top of that, they're doing a level of private investigation. See, a lot of people, they know that loss prevention does the peeking around corners and the following people and the getting back of the Monster energy drinks, or, you know, if it's Ross, they're getting back the $12 shirt. But a large part of what loss prevention does, and what's kind of becoming more of what loss prevention is focusing on now, you know, in 2024 and probably moving forward, another aspect of their job is internal investigations. Internal investigations on employees, on associates, on managers. Think about that. That little nerdy gamer guy that's 22 years old that comes in wearing Vans and a beanie and a sweatshirt, and he's kind of goofy and doesn't really seem to have very much aspiration in life. That guy, in any company, in any location where he's working loss prevention, a large part of his job is to do investigations on the people that work for that company. Investigations of theft, investigations of fraud, investigations of inappropriate relationships or contacts. Another thing that they do is they, in some locations, audit products to see if, you know, certain products are being stolen, if the location of where those products are being stolen. Now, every aspect of what I've talked about, the interaction with the average goofball subject that's potentially stealing, the interaction with the staff that might be stealing or engaging in fraud, and the interaction of doing audits, all of that information not only puts them in close proximity and constant conversation with the corporate side of the company, all of their information that they get, everything that they do, all the video that they pull. I haven't even talked about the fact that they're trained on CCTV footage retrieval, utilizing the cameras, all of that, right? I haven't even gone down that path, but all of that information, once it's obtained, once it's compiled, once the report is generated, all of that is then turned over to the police. The police come in all of the situations that I've brought up for things that loss prevention officers find themselves in. The cops show up after the fact. And they're like, what do you have for us? It's the loss prevention officer's job to then hand over a large packet of information with surveillance footage, with pictures, with witness statements, with receipts. All the information for prosecution has to be compiled by the loss prevention officer at various levels, right? Once that's turned over to law enforcement and a case is then generated and brought against a person for whatever they've done, that loss prevention officer now has to go to court. They go to court, they testify, and I don't know if you guys have ever had to go to court to testify for anything that you've done in security. You might be there 2-3 days. Those 2 or 3 days that you're there, you're sitting in a waiting room or you're sitting in a lobby, and it's you, a couple of police officers, an attorney, maybe a representative, and all throughout the day, you're having conversations with the cops, you're having lunch, You're going in and out of the courtroom. You're talking to a district attorney or maybe an assistant district attorney. You're talking to a representative for the dirtbag or maybe the associate. All of this back and forth cross conversation is putting you in proximity to people that if you want to be a cop somewhere down the road, these are the people you're going to be dealing with. You're talking to the guy that might be your FTO if you become a police officer. You're talking to someone that works in the district attorney's office. You're getting to know different lawyers who work for the corporate company. Now, if you find that an employee has been stealing $10,000, $15,000 over the course of a couple of years, you find out that another couple of employees are planning on robbing the store and taking money out of the safe. You've saved A and B grocery, let's say 50, 60 grand. You've done a great job in terms of finding out that if you put, I don't know, the spatulas on the right side of the food aisle, that they're more likely to get stolen based on your audits. And so they've now moved them to the left side, and you've saved A and B about $7,000 a quarter on spatulas being stolen, right? This all bodes well for you. If you've done a great job of giving information and compiling reports, putting together surveillance footage, handing that over to police officers, you've had all of these conversations. When you decide, you know what, I'm ready to take this next step, you fill out that application. What are you putting down? Now, Bobby, who has not done anything other than graduate high school, go to the community college for a couple semesters, get his girlfriend pregnant. Shout out to Bobby, right? He's a great guy. He's in great shape. He's got the potential to make a great sheriff's deputy one day. But when he says his experience on that application for that police department or sheriff's department, what does he put down? Now, what about James? James is the loss prevention officer for Ross. He's the loss prevention officer for Target, maybe, or Target if you want to jazz it up. He's the guy that works for A and B grocery. And what is he putting down as his experience? I am a 4-year loss prevention officer. I have run 60 successful audits on A and B grocery over the course of those 4 years, compiling information that saved $300,000 in total. I have made 18 shoplifting arrests, all prosecuted off of the information that I compiled. I have worked directly with Assistant DA Smith, Stevens, and I don't know, Kolvecki, right? I am versed and trained in handcuffing techniques, OC, escalation of force, defensive tactics. I have a certification through the Wicklander Academy of Interview, so on and so on and so on. Oh, I've also managed a team of 3 people working directly with off-duty police officers and security guards in an armed capacity. I implemented a program where we were able to bring the use of force and hands-on incidents down by 75%, working with the amazing Damian, atypical security guard Bunting. And now you get hired, right? You guys get my point. So my reasoning for going with loss prevention as that number 1 opportunity and option is because of what it will potentially expose you to. Now, some of you guys might be like, dude, I work loss prevention for fucking JoJo's Chicken Shack, and all I have to do is, you know, count the napkins and make sure that Susie doesn't spend too much time on her phone. Like, I get that there's varying degrees of what we're talking about, but my conjecture remains. I think that loss prevention is your best route if you can find the best place, the best opportunity, and the best company that provides what I've laid out. If that is the path that you want to go into law enforcement, into private investigations, into any aspect of public service like that, great opportunity, great options, and I think that it's an absolute can't miss if you play your cards right, okay? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. If you think I'm absolutely insane, tell me that. If you think that I'm wrong, tell me that. If you think armed security, unarmed security, or working some level of executive protection is better, share why that is. Other people are going to watch this video, and I want people to have as much information as possible to make the best decision for themselves. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to my shit. And if you haven't, get your asses out there, get on your phone, get on your laptop, do whatever you got to do. Go to Bones and Brew Security Gear. Let me say this again. Bones and Brew Security Gear. One more time. Bones and Brew SecurityGear.com. Get your butt some patches, some t-shirts, and support the security guard movement. Hashtag security guards matter. I got some good sleep last night, and my wife was very nice to me. So I'm in a good mood, if you know what I mean. All right? Y'all be good, be safe, watch your back, watch your six, and as always, be great.